You'll be very aged after 10 years. What? A 40-year-old single hag, that's really pitiful. My ex-husband, whom I hadn't seen in a long time, said that and laughed at me through his nose. This man, who got his mistress pregnant and tossed me aside without a second thought because I was infertile. I thought that time would have made him a slightly better person, but it seems that the essence of a person doesn't change that easily. Even after 10 years, he still considers me inferior. He kept bringing up the past and verbally abusing me. I decided to end the conversation quickly and never get involved with him again. The very next moment, I achieved my revenge on my ex-husband in an unexpected way. My name is Emily Johnson. I'm 30 years old. I work for a publishing company, and despite being busy with work every day, I am living a fulfilling life. My husband's name is Tom. He's 32 years old. We've been married for 3 years, but we still don't have any children. It's not that we don't want to have them, it's that we can't. At the beginning of our marriage, I wanted to have children immediately. I've always loved children and wanted to give birth and raise children while I was still young. However, reality is harsh, and even after being married for 3 years, there is no sign of having children. During the first year, I didn't worry, thinking that we'll naturally conceive sooner or later. However, after a year and a half, I started to feel anxious. We're not using contraception, yet we're not getting pregnant. I remember vividly how I felt when I realized that the sensation of my blood draining away. What if the problem was with me? What if I was diagnosed as infertile? At that moment, I felt like my value as a woman would be lost, and I became scared. In the end, without sharing my feelings with my husband, I decided to see a gynecologist. I explained that we couldn't conceive naturally and underwent tests. There were tests that had to be conducted during menstruation and others that had to be conducted afterwards. As I was lacking knowledge, the 2 months until the end of the tests were very tough. The day I went to hear the test results, praying. As I was rubbing my cold hands and heading to the consulting room, the doctor said, "We've done a thorough examination, but we didn't find any particular abnormalities with you, Miss Johnson." Huh? Does that mean there is nothing wrong with me? Yes, we couldn't find a specific cause. Your body is perfectly capable of becoming pregnant. Then why? That's when the only possibility crossed my mind. It seemed the doctor was thinking the same thing, and he opened his mouth with a somewhat stern expression. "Why don't we suggest that your husband also get tested?" So, does that mean that the cause of infertility might be with my husband, not me? Yes, it's not well known, but about half of all cases of infertility are due to the male side. Half? Half of them? When people hear about infertility, they tend to think the cause lies with the woman, but that's not necessarily the case. We couldn't find any issues with you, as we see here. So there's a chance that my husband could be the problem? Yes, the possibility is not low. Ultimately, we can't say for sure unless we test. After that, all I could do was listen silently to the doctor's words. I had always thought, as the doctor said, that infertility was usually caused by the woman. Resolved, I decided to have my husband undergo a test too. That night, as soon as my husband returned from work, I immediately brought up the conversation. "Hey Tom, would you come with me to the women's clinic I'm attending on our next day off?" "Huh? Why me?" "Well, I went to get the results of an infertility test today, and there wasn't any issue with me." "Huh, so?" "It's not just so. The doctor told me that about half of all infertility cases are caused by men. So, the moment I opened my mouth to explain what the doctor had told me, my husband's expression hardened, and he sighed heavily and obviously. Are you suggesting that I might be the cause of the infertility? I think it's not impossible, so I'd like you to get tested just in case. You've got to be kidding. Me infertile? I'm a man. There's no way I'm the cause. But the doctor said there could be a cause on the man's side too. Don't believe everything that quack doctor says. No matter how you look at it, you're the woman. You're the cause. Even though it's your fault we can't have kids, you're trying to shift the blame onto me. My husband raised his voice as much as he could and threw a cushion at me with all his might. It hit my head, causing an unpleasant shock. Ouch. Just so you know, it's your fault, okay? Because you're making it sound like I'm the cause of the infertility. That's not. I'm not deciding that. I was just talking about the possibility. That's what I'm saying. That possibility itself doesn't exist. Don't blame me for not being able to have kids. I'll report this incident to my mom too, you know? That my mother-in-law, unlike my father-in-law, dotes on her only son, my husband, and doesn't think highly of me. Despite my efforts to interact as minimally as possible and avoid provoking any negative emotions. Ignoring this, my husband immediately called my mother-in-law and began speaking as if I was in the wrong. Hey mom, Emily's accusing me of being infertile. Usually, if there's a problem, it's with the woman's side, right? You'd think the same, wouldn't you? It's seriously impossible. I'm pissed off at being blamed. My husband was having a conversation with my mother-in-law, deliberately loud enough for me to hear. Unable to withstand his words, I had no choice but to retreat to my own room. In the end, my husband didn't apologize to me that day, and from the next day onwards, he became colder than ever. It's been a year and a half since we got married, and although our conversations have decreased, compared to our newlywed days, this was the first time he had treated me with such indifference. Another year and a half has passed since then. My relationship with my husband remains unchanged. Even today, as he consumes his breakfast, he lazily opens his mouth. This breakfast is as terrible as ever. How do you manage to cook such a meal first thing in the morning? But I made your favorite French toast today. The French toast I like is delicious French toast, you know. How can I enjoy eating something this bad? I'm sorry. If it doesn't suit your taste, you can leave it, you know. What? So you're telling me to go to work hungry? That's not what I... Yeah, right. Well, I'm going to buy breakfast at the convenience store. You can pay for it. My husband abruptly stood up and roughly pulled my wallet out of my bag. He took out a $50 bill and put it in his pocket. Wait a minute, $50 is too much. Do you have a problem? I don't want to eat your crappy food anymore. I'll just take this as this week's breakfast money. That's the money for my beauty salon appointment this weekend. Shut up. Stop spending money on your own enjoyment while you're infertile. Do some exercise to improve your physical condition, idiot. My husband looked down at me with a mocking expression and left the living room. As soon as I heard the door close, tears started to fall from my eyes. Why am I going through this? Overwhelmed by frustration and sadness, my emotions became a mess. Before I knew it, I had been crying in that spot for 30 minutes. One evening after many such days, my husband came home from work, unusually cheerful. Had something good happened? As I was thinking about this, my husband announced with me a beaming smile. Emily, I want a divorce. Divorce? What are you talking about? I'm going to be a father. A father? I don't understand what you're saying. She's pregnant. We've decided to raise a child together, so let's get a divorce. She? Pregnant? I couldn't keep up with my husband's abrupt announcement. The only thing I understood was that he had been cheating. No matter how much I thought about it, this fact would not change. With tears in my eyes, I timidly asked my husband, "Hey, is that child really yours, Tom?" "Huh? What are you talking about? Don't tell me you still think there's a chance I'm infertile." "But we haven't been able to have a child in the 3 years since we got married. It's a fact that I'm not the problem." "You're so persistent. You're just jealous because you couldn't get pregnant, aren't you? Tough luck. You're the infertile one." My husband said that, shoved me away, and told me to get out. By the way, this apartment is in my husband's name. If one of us had to leave, it would have to be me. As I reluctantly gathered my belongings, my husband threw the already prepared divorce papers at me. "Get out, infertile woman. I'll transfer you the property division later." "I'm leaving, even without you saying it, but I never thought you were such a horrible person." "Say whatever you want. I'm at the peak of happiness now, unlike you. I'm going to be a parent." My husband laughed loudly. The man before me was no longer the Tom I used to love. I left the house and rented a monthly apartment near my company. I found a new place during the contract period and managed to move. It was not easy to gather the necessary furniture and appliances for daily life while working, as I only brought the bare minimum of luggage, such as clothes and underwear. Nevertheless, I had a property division of $30,000 from my ex-husband and his mistress, so I was able to start a new life without any particular financial difficulties. For the next 5 years, I devoted myself to work, as if to let go of my painful past. Around that time, I met someone through an introduction from a close colleague. His name was John Smith. John was 2 years younger than me, but he was friendly and generous. He had also experienced a divorce, which was apparently caused by his ex-wife's infidelity. He had no children and was in exactly the same situation as me. Because of this, we were able to understand each other's wounds. As a result, we started dating. After a year of dating, we happily got married. As Emily Smith, I became even more committed to my work. I spent my holidays going out with my husband, occasionally traveling, and enjoying my second life. Surprisingly, I found out I was pregnant on my 37th birthday. We had only been married for half a year. Our long-awaited child came to us easily. He shed tears of joy and was overjoyed from the bottom of his heart. "Thank you, Emily. I'm incredibly happy." "Me too. I never thought I could become a mother, so I'm really happy. It may be tough because of your age, but I'll support you with all my might. Let's do this together." "Thank you, John. I'm very glad to become a parent with you." As he declared, John supported me throughout my pregnancy. He even took over my share of the housework and did all the shopping. 7 months later, I safely gave birth to a daughter. It was the happiest moment of my life. Soon, my daughter Catherine turned 3 and began to speak fluently. Since my husband was out this day, I went to the park with Catherine. As I was watching Catherine play in the sandbox, I heard a familiar voice. "Is that Emily?" "What? To Tom?" "It is Emily. Long time no see." The man standing there was my ex-husband, Tom, who had dumped me. He ran up with a smirk and peered into my face. "What are you doing all alone here? Waiting to be picked up?" "No way. Please don't talk to me. You've really aged after 10 years. "What?" "A 40-year-old single hag. That's really pitiful." My ex-husband laughed out loud, clapping his hands. Seeing him like this made me feel as if a blood vessel had burst. Just when I finally became happy, why did he have to show up at this time? After all, it was because of him that I had to go through all that pain. I can't forgive him. Today, I'm going to say everything I want to say. Overwhelmed by anger, I couldn't control my emotions and stood up. "All this happened because of you." At that moment, when I shouted at him, my daughter tugged at my clothes and asked with a puzzled look, "Mommy, who's this man?" Catherine. Is he a friend of yours, Mommy? Hi. Seeing my daughter call me Mommy, Tom widened his eyes. He approached me with a panicked look. Hey, what's going on? She just called you Mommy. Yes, this is Catherine, my daughter. What? That can't be. You were infertile. Didn't I tell you 10 years ago? I wasn't the cause. It's been proved by test. Then this child is really yours? Yes, Catherine is undoubtedly my daughter, born from me. That can't be true? You were diagnosed with infertility. Tom went pale and his face twitched. As he stepped back, I voiced a thought. Hey, are you sure your children are your children? What are you? Have you ever checked? At least, I thought you were the infertile one. Stop it. That's not true. I'm raising a child with her right now. Well, doesn't matter, does it? They say the one who raises is more apparent than the one who gives birth, if you're not bothered by it. No way. That child is mine. That can't be. Serves you right. You were tricked into raising someone else's child. Why don't you suffer now? No. Tom let out a bizarre scream and ran off crying. As I smirked at his pathetic figure, my daughter watched me curiously. Mommy, wasn't that man your friend? No, he wasn't, but I am very grateful to him. Grateful? Why? Because thanks to him, I was able to meet you, Catherine. Really? Then I should be grateful too. Haha, that's right. You're a treasure to Mommy and Daddy. I open my arms wide and hug my daughter, who jumps into them. I was a bit mean to him, but honestly, I don't hold much grudge anymore. Thanks to Tom's infidelity, I was able to meet my beloved John and Catherine. Later, Tom apparently confronted his wife about their child. In the end, his wife revealed that she had multiple relationships at the time. She chose to marry Tom, who had the most stable income among them. Subsequent DNA testing proves that there was no parent-child relationship between them. He also had a fertility test, and it turned out that he couldn't have children. As a result, Tom and his wife ended up getting divorced. He lost hope in everything and seemed to have become misanthropic. He doesn't leave his house, and his mother-in-law comes to check on him once every few days. He lost his job and there is no sign of him finding a new one. On the other hand, my position at the company has been promoted, and I've finally become an executive. My income has increased significantly, and thanks to that, the number of family trips has also increased. Every time I see the happy smiles of my daughter and husband, I feel my own happiness from the bottom of my heart. My decision was never wrong. Because of the struggles I went through, I am now able to spend these happy days. I won't look back at the past anymore. With my beloved daughter and husband, our family of 3 will work towards a bright future.